5-number summary is not the most common numerical description of a distribution. Most of the time you see the average or the mean and the standard deviation. So what is the mean? Well, it's just the ordinary average of the observations. The standard deviation is providing us with the average distance of the observations from the mean. So you can kind of think of standard deviation as the average distance from the mean, and then let the calculator handle the rest of it because it's kind of a pain to calculate. So to calculate the mean, on the other hand, that one's not so bad. You simply add the observations and then divide by how many there are. To find the standard deviation, on the other hand, you first have to find the distance of each observation from the mean. Then you have to square all of those differences. You're going to then average those squared distances, but you'll divide by n-1. There's a whole lot of theory as to why you divide by n-1 and not n, but it has to do with the fact that this standard deviation is being calculated from a sample. That number that you get when you average the squared distance is the variance, and then the standard deviation is found by taking the square root of that variance. Finding the mean is not too bad, but even then we probably would want to use technology to calculate this. To find the average for Barry Bonds, you would add up all of his observations. They don't even have to be in order. Divide by the fact that there were 22 of them, and we see that he had an average of 34.6 home runs in each season. Now, to find the standard deviation, you'd have to do something like this. Take the observation, subtract the mean, square it, and then you're going to do that for each observation, then add up all of those observations, and then divide by n-1. So you would take that 4,139.12, divide by 21, and you'll get 197.1. That's the variance. You take the square root of that to get the standard deviation, 14.04 home runs. While you'll need to go through this process 1 or 2 times in the homework, most of the time when calculating these summary statistics, the median, the quartiles, the mean, you're actually going to use software. And so if you click in Canvas on this Macmillan Learning page, it should take you to a landing page. And I want you to click on this first link that says Sapling. And you probably already have this done. So if you have to click through those, then that's fine. But hopefully you'll end up at this landing page for Sapling. Their very first link says Crunch It. And that resource is a very valuable resource for calculating these statistics. So I want you to click it, and it's going to look a little bit like Excel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to type in the home runs for Hank Aaron real quick. You have to double click to start typing. Once you're done, then you'll go up here and you'll click on Statistics, and the first option is Descriptive Statistics. If you have multiple columns, you'll have an option to click which column you want to calculate the sample statistics for, but since we only have one column listed here, I will click Variable 1, and I don't need to do anything else here. I can simply hit Calculate, and this will give me the sample size n, the sample mean, 32.84, the standard deviation, and then the 5-number summary. So unless you are having to calculate it by hand for the homework, you would absolutely use Crunch It for any other calculations. Most of the homework questions, you will be able to use Crunch It. So it's just a few that they kind of have you work through a table, but otherwise, absolutely come to Crunch It on your quizzes, on your tests, on anything in this class. use Crunchit in order to calculate these summary statistics. Now, depending on the type of calculator you're using, there might also be a way to get these values out of your calculator. So I encourage you to look up the user guide for your calculator to see how it calculates statistics.